In this third video of the beginner's course for Amazon Sumerian, we're going to look at materials and textures. In this video specifically, we are going to cover materials, changing colors, and adding textures. So let's get started. I'm returning to the scene that I had built in the last video, and there is not a lot going on here yet. What we do have is the table offset. If you remember, that is an empty entity that contains the table itself, which is just a box with these specific dimensions. And I don't know if I had that. Let me get those dimensions a little bit closer. I had a 2.25 is what I meant to do. It's not much different. All right, so that is the table and the table offset. Then we also added a disk to represent the ground. One thing I did not do, however, was change the name of the disk to ground. And so what I'm doing is selected the disk. I went to the top component over here in the inspector panel. I selected that, and under name, I'm just changing it to ground. We're going to be doing this for almost all of our entities because it's really helpful to keep things organized properly. Okay, but if you notice, what we don't want is that the ground and the table both have this really light white or light gray, almost white color. We want to change that a little bit, and although we want to experiment also, just so you can see how to do other things as well, such as add textures. So let's start with the ground. So I have my ground selected, and I want to change the color of the ground. So what I need to do is go over the inspector panel, unfold or expand the material component. So once I do that, you see there's a lot of different properties here in the materials. So, and we cover these in more detail in other tutorials, so be sure to check those out. However, the one property we're going to look at today is the color diffuse property. So I'll expand that. Now, right now, here is the color that we are using. And it's this. And if I click the color selector, you can see where it is. It has the hex value and RGB values there listed. And if I move this around, I can see the color change. But I want it to do something that's kind of mid-gray, and I'm just going to add the hex value right there. This can be whatever you want, but right now I'm just going with, what was that again? 393939. That's the values I'm going to choose for my ground, just a basic gray. Now the table does stand out a little bit, which is good. We do want that. However, what if you wanted to change let's select the table first. So again, not the table offset. The table offset is an empty entity that contains the table. And again, there's the color. And if I wanted to have it the same color, let's just do that real quick. There. Not quite what I want to do, though. I want to change it to maybe something a little bit darker, so it stands out against the ground. Great. All right, but however, what if I wanted to add a texture? A texture is essentially a JPEG or PNG or really just an image file that you can add to your entity that will wrap itself around it, kind of like a sticker would around a physical object. And then your object will actually look like that. So let's try that. I have a JPEG here on my computer that is just a picture of cardboard. So it looks like cardboard texture, like an Amazon shipping box, really. So I'm going to drag that JPEG onto the color diffuse property. And when I do that, if I zoom in, I can actually start seeing that the table does kind of look like a cardboard box. But I had the color selected to be this really dark. Now if I unselect that, meaning I don't want to show that color, now I can start seeing that my table does look like a box, which is pretty cool. So there we go. That's how you change the texture and the colors. I don't want to keep this cardboard texture on it, so I'm actually going to delete it and go back to the color property and add that. And then we don't want it to be quite that dark. Well, I guess that's fine. It would be something like that. So there we go. That is how you change the material color and texture of an entity. In the next video of this beginner's course, we're going to look at the environment. And that is, how do you change this sky sphere background and change some other properties? So I hope you join us. Thank you.